If I go by, certain morals and that line up and he's not there, automatically we're not going to be compatible. That's the same way you should see a woman if she's way off to the left, wanting to wear breeches and, boots and belt buckles, but she wants to be your girlfriend or your wife, but she wants to be the head of the household. And she makes it clear. Then that's not for you. So we're going to get these response. Some women are going to say it, like you said, because they're used to being the breadwinner, the head of their household, because they have been. But you should be able to break it down to her, as I have broken it down to you, and we've had this discussion, and as we're talking now. And if she don't get it, and she want to keep that brick wall up, then so be it. But guess what? Same as the guy. So be it. Because I don't want to be me personally. It's only going to be one woman in the relationship when I get married. And that I mean, you just truly, I know that it was placed out there because women say that first part, but not necessarily the end. But from an understanding perspective, this is why, that's why some of the women reacted the way that they did, because of what can you offer him besides sex. You know how some people tunnel on certain things?
Yes.
When they read stuff?
Yes.
If that part wasn't on there, it wouldn't get all those types of comments.
Let's read it a different way, shall we? Ladies, let's hear your views. When a man has a job, his own car, his own house, he cooks, he cleans the house and takes care of his own affairs, what can you offer him besides conversation?
You should be offering him conversation anyway. If you cannot connect intellectually on some type of vibe, it don't matter if you have a mansion and 5 cars and a 7 figure income. If we can't connect, we're not connecting. If we can't vibe, we're not connecting. Because we need to be trying to touch, we need to connect in our souls. All that other stuff is, it's cool. It's cool to have. There's nothing wrong with it. But you as a person need to be better than those accessories, is what I like to call them. There's nothing wrong with having accessories, but if the accessories make you, you won't last with everybody.
No.
Some people you will. Some people you won't. There's plenty of wealthy men and women that can get men and women and wives and husbands, but sometimes they don't last. You think it's about the wealth? No, because if it was about just solely the wealth, people would stay. But there are a lot of people that get divorced and they break up because it's bigger than that. That's not going to keep you together. No. So we have to really truly think deeper than the surface. Those statements, whether it's coming from a man or a woman, it's a very surface statement. Because when you think about it, that's bare necessities and things that we all should have in order to survive and live. You gotta get to work, so you need a car. You need a roof over your head. So yeah, you should have an apartment or a house. You should have a job, whether you work from home or you have your own business or you work for somebody else. Yeah. How else are you going to live if you don't have those types of things?
You need income.
Right.
But don't necessarily let people know, hey, I have income. It's not something to be thrown in somebody's face. We're trying to overdo the psycho, pseudo, superficial attitudes that people carry nowadays. And we're trying to place blame. I've heard Chris Rock make this in a joke that he said, people brag on stuff they're supposed to do.
Right.
And that's not really something that needs to be brought to the table. well, I pay my own bills, well, I cook my own food. You're kind of supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So why is this a big deal? What are you going to bring to the table? I saw some of the comments there. You know, I'm going to bring a level of communication, some comfort. You know, answering, first and foremost, it's answering the question. It's direct communication. And like we're talking here, like me and Ms. Oatmeal said, you have to communicate. One of my pet peeves, and I'll share this with you, aside from the toilet paper roll issue, is answering questions with a question. Ugh.
And you said that last week when we were talking about communication. Make sure you check
Yes.
that podcast. We have several videos explaining the different types of forms of communication. Well, I didn't ask a question, but I didn't answer it either. I'm making myself an example, you know, I love to do that. Love transparency. But no, you know why I didn't answer it? Because
Why is that?
I think it's a dumb question. I think it's dumb. You know, that's not saying that you're not smart. It's a dumb question for me. For me personally, my thought process and the way I roll. So I'm like, at my age, if you don't know a woman's worth overall, we don't need to talk. Because I cannot teach you what you should already know.
No,
You have a mom,
you can't.
you have a grandmother, you have an auntie, you have a sister, you've been around somebody, and you know what a woman's worth is. So, to say, well, I'm flipping it because the women say this, why do you think they say that? They
There,
probably heard a man state, as I've seen in some of the comments, because there's some chicks that, you know, they just want to be taken care of and they're lazy and they don't do anything. The chicks that are in those comments, that's not for them. So, as somebody stated, maybe it's per your experience or the chicks that you talk to. That's where that's going to be effective. It's not going to be effective when what you're saying doesn't apply to your main audience.